This is my 2003 Chevy Silverado extended cab 1500. Dash cluster was working intermittently for the past year or so. Some of the gauges worked some days, others didn't work, and then completely all went out, and the digital readout kind of stays on. A lot of common issues with these are just the solders, and they need to be taken out, which this trim piece goes up and around, comes off fairly easy. And then there's 4 little screws that need to be taken out in the dash cluster. Right now my vehicle's off. And when I turn it on, nothing going on in my cluster.
Today we are looking at a cluster, a dash, whatever you want to call this, from a Chevy Z71 2007 model. I don't know where it starts and begins for what model cover. I'll figure that out and put that at the video description or the title for this. It said this wasn't working. The gas thing was only kind of working, and then it just later just flat out died. So in order to take it apart, you have all these little clips here that you have to pull up on along the sides here. And what I'm going to do is this back part here, and we're going to take it apart and we're going to look at solder joints. I thought this would be kind of neat to show people, since I've never shown anybody this on my YouTube channel. I have done a few of these dash clusters before in the one job that I had, but I was never able to record any process of doing such. We weren't allowed cell phones to be on, and definitely was not allowed to record anything for YouTube. It's just understandable. But for the dash part, we could have just done that. There's nobody gonna steal that business from that company. They didn't even have that as a business. And there you go. Just like that, it comes off. And it seems a little loose. And that does clean all your little knobs and stuff is moving. Now I can take the front off here and pull each one of those things out if I wanted to. I kind of just want to take and look at the solder joints on this without doing any of that, because I doubt there's anything on the front of this other than just copper traces. There might be some components here and there. I highly doubt it. But we're going to look at and see if we have some solder joint problems and go from there. See, like there's this thing here. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but we may clean it up. I'll get the brush out. I handed Andy Pete brush. I'm going to get rid of all the dust here. Okay. A couple of things we're going to be looking for is solder joints like this, which is not terrible, but it's just not good. That as well. These seem to look okay. There is one that I kind of just want to look at. So it's got that crack around it. Trying to get the phone to focus. Sometimes it's hard to do. Yeah, there you go. See that? That first pin right there. That is a bad solder joint. It's a cold solder joint. We'll flip it around so you can see a better view of it. And then we're going to zoom in. I guess I am already zoomed in. It's that crack that's going to cause problems. And I don't know if that is, what that is anything, if it's anything important. I see these little things here every now and then. They're just like little spots. I don't know if it's moisture getting into it. See, like this right here. It's gritty. Okay, so it's a 2003 Chevy Silverado 1500 cab. So we're pretty much going to just be looking for solder joints. This is for the display down below, so I'm going to resolder that definitely. And I'm going to look and see here if there's anything that we need to fix. But that might be a culprit. That right there, that's kind of suspicious. So I'm just going to do a general reflow, add solder to these pins here. And then you get over here to the gauges. For your fuel and your oil and all that, the battery. And I kind of just soldered it, but it looks like that's kind of, you know, that's not terrible. But there's some of them that look as if they're just sitting on top of the pad. Like that one right there. Like it didn't make any good contact. And I don't know if somebody else had done this, or if that's factory. See, like that right there? If you look underneath there, you see the flux. That's probably going to have some, it's probably oxidized underneath there, so it's not making a good contact. We can always get a voltmeter, an ohm meter, and ohm that out. And like here's this again. That's just like showing, it's just carboned up, or okay, that's the clear overcoat. That's a solder mask deal there. Okay, and it just got some dust on it. Makes it look that way. It's just like corrosion. I look at it in one direction. Alright, so we're gonna resolder some of this stuff. I may take the front panel off. Take this off here, the glass piece, plastic really, and take each one of these knobs off, so I can take this board completely out, just so I can look and see what's underneath here. You know, this is probably the third or fourth one I've ever looked at. A lot of times you see these will be a flex circuit, not a rigid PCB. This is the first one that I've seen is the hard PCB. Flex circuit would have something in between it, and you have to cut the plastic out and resolder it. So let's take the front and bezel part off of it, and take each one of those little knobs off. It's not going to matter as far as that goes. I do want to pay attention to this here and show how they are. They're kind of chewed up. Again, I don't know if somebody else works on this or not. I'm not going to knock on, if my friend worked on it or try to work on it, I'm not going to knock him for trying. But if it didn't work on it, this is something I wanted to show him that, hey, this has already been looked into. Just FYI. And the other two tabs are these down here, where that person had problems getting into. Which understandably, I can see why they would be having problems getting into it. However, if you're going from the bottom, this clip here would be really easily to get access to, like this. Let's pry up. But I think they're a little chewed. And we'll just have to make do. I don't think that's long enough to get in there. Let's try tweezers here. Well, alrighty then. So this is what I'm doing. I got this side popped up, and I'm going to press this way. I'm going this way and force, in hopes of being able to get to those latches without breaking them. It seems like one side of the latch was already done. Yeah, that side was already broken. Okay, so that's done. Don't necessarily need to drop this. Maybe put a pillow underneath it. Okay, so let's see how easy these would be to get to. I would assume you'd be able just to take and lift up. And again, I could be wrong. I don't want to break anything. There's no screws. That's bizarre. How do they expect you to... let's take a sneak peek underneath here, see what I can see. Oh, it looks like it's a piece of plastic, so... Well, let's try it. There you go. See the first one that came up. And we know which one's which. We're not going to be able to make the mouth blower go for these. The RPM. And all I'm doing is I put both fingers on each side here and lifting up. Alright, we're going to come back to that one. I don't know what you can and can't see. I have no view of my phone. Okay. Here's this little guy here. I'm going to get a pair of tweezers and something underneath here so I can lift this up. I don't have to take this apart. I just thought it would be neat to see the top side. I know what's in here. I can see with that. It's a white circuit board. I kind of wanted to see what else is in there, so if somebody sent me this, they can go, oh, blah, 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 it's this thing's going bad, and blah, 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 and, you know. That way I have something simple in front of me to fix, and then I can showcase what it looks like to myself later on if I have to repair this. That's pretty cool. It's just a small little push button. It's just spring loaded, it feels like. Just wanted to take this apart completely and looking underneath. I've never seen one. At least on the front side. This thing here looks kind of burnt. It's up here. That's for the oil. I'm only judging it by how I can see in here. I'm not sure exactly what that thing is. I wonder why this was so hard to take and undo. They're just plastic pieces is all they are. It's just hard to get a finger underneath these. Get something flat to get leverage underneath it. There we go. Not one to easily to give up on something. If I want to get it, I'll get it. I just don't want to break it. There. That one's not coming out right now. I'll start over here. You can't see where I'm at. We're in the battery. Okay, that one comes out. Might go to the oil. Oh man. That just stuck in there pretty good. Let's just keep wiggling it. That's quite a force. Here we have something more leverage. Let's get to the speedometer. There we go, folks. All right. Now we can take her apart all the way. How do you like that? And just like this, just lift straight up. Isn't that cool? This is what the back of that looks like. And this is what the circuit board looks like. That's amazing. Let's just get a closer look. All these resistors. See, this is why I wanted to get in here. So these are bulbs. That's what those things are. Those are bulbs. I wondered what they were. Got a processor in here. Those resistors don't look too good. Those are just voltage divider resistors. I got a little coil here. And the set of LEDs. Vacuum display. I like this black and white look to it. I think that's pretty neat. Yeah. See how that bulb there, that just got hot. And there's this little button here. I think it's just sitting there for the whatever it is, selector. And there you have it. There's a resistor here that's missing. And don't know if it should be. Yeah, was obviously there was something there. Well, if that part was still in here, it would be pretty amazing. But I highly doubt that part is in here anymore. And I wouldn't know exactly what part it would be either. You know what I mean? I can guess that since this is all 501 over here, 511, these are 240s over here, and I'm guessing that would be a 240 in that circuit, and everything's stayed together. This is just a voltage regulator, steps down voltage to a 3.3 output. Cool. That's what the inside of one of these looks like. I have to take a look at this closer. You see how there was something there. But where did it go? That's the problem. I restarted all this stuff, and if the guy says that it still doesn't work, I'm gonna go with, because that resistor is no longer on the board, that's probably part of his problem. I don't know how that would relate to circuitry over here not working, but we'll get there. Interesting. I'll have to take a photo of this and show it to him. I got to looking at this, and several of these bulbs here, ones that are melted, it looks, say like this, it's been, somebody's resoldered this. And the ones that are not melted, that's not a good example, but the ones that are not melted, like this one over here, it's never been touched. So I'm thinking somebody probably, I know somebody's reworked on this. And I know somebody's changed his bulbs out. Look how shoddy that solder joint is. Not shoddy, it's just holy bejesus. Why did you have to add that much solder? So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't need to be working on this kind of stuff. I don't know if all of these bulbs should be clear or it should be reflective metal like this. See that one's clear, and the rest of these are just kind of like that. So I don't know if that means that's brightness or darkness. I mean, that would be turn signal. Okay, these two top bulbs here are turn signal, and that one's kind of gonna metal reflective to the top. This one don't. It's clear. I'm betting that they should all be kind of clear and not this looking interesting. Okay, so we're going to solder this side here, and then we'll move on to the other side, And then I'll get in the parts of the other circuit board. Try to make sure everything's in view. That's exactly what I'm doing. Sure you can still see. So when you go to solder these pins here, you need to remove the conformal coating they put on here. Otherwise it's going to be hard for you to resolder and reflow. Same way with down here for the display. I'm going to move on to, I've already resoldered these points here, made them look better. Move on to down here where I thought there might be some problem with the servo motors. If the solder joints were bad on them, that would cause problems. Kind of wanted to retouch them, reheat them up. Make sure nothing lifts up. We have good contact on the pad. May take that solder off just to see what the pad looks like underneath. It does look kind of suspicious. See, that solder joint right there looked a lot better with less on it. I can see there's a solder pad there. There, I like that. I'm going to do the same for over here. Remove the solder. Less is more. What you do in these soldering joints, you don't want a whole blob on there. You don't want nothing. You want to have some solder on it. You don't want something that looks like, I don't know if you can see this part in the video where I'm doing. You don't want this big bubble of solder. I mean, this is in a vehicle, so you're going to be concerned about vibrations and whatnot. So you do want to make sure you have some solder on it. And if we have to go back and replace the bulbs at a later time, we will. Right now, we're just seeing if we can take and fix the minimal problems it was having. Bulbs will need to be replaced eventually on this particular board, if they are loose and vibrating. don't want that to cause a problem with them. I'm working on this side here on these motors. I see nothing wrong over here for these solder joints, and that looks like that's just the transformer. And I'm gonna look at this display here, the vacuum display. If I see any bad solder joints, which I don't think I did before. I did wash all the flux off of it. Seemed to be in pretty good shape. I got the rest of it soldered. So now it's up to him to plug it in and see what happens. I don't know if there's this resistor here, if that's going to cause any problems. You can see that this bulb here is loose. This one here is loose. These are loose over here. Whoever resoldered these, heating them up way too much, cause problems. So, probably going to replace all of those. This one's even kind of loose. This one's tight. This one's loose. And this one's loose. But there's a resistor missing. And I'm guessing it's 240 ohms. We'll see what happens. Being that these resistors, see how hot they got, I'm going to resolder those as well. Just to make sure. And we'll see how they flow. And I'll show you what I mean. You can see it. If one side moves when I touch the other side, then you know this is going to be something you need to do. Make sure your iron's hot. Also want to use thinner solder. I'll find it. But I just put it. See? There you go. I just lifted that one resistor up. It's thermal clean. I'm gonna add solder. I'm gonna remove all these resistors here. And I'm gonna add solder on both ends. See if that's the only one that does it. This one's loose. And I can tell you how loose it is. This is solder here, so it's very soft, malleable, so it's not that strong. So I'm going to remove all these resistors completely and resolder both pads. Put them down. That's what happens when you don't put surface mount glue underneath the bottom of these resistors. They don't hold them tight. That one seems to be okay. I do want to take them all off. Rework them. They are all the same resistance, so I don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. Let's work on this guy down here. If you don't have a hot air station, just basically what you're going to be doing is just heating up one side, heating up the other side. This one I'm just going to leave as is. I can't get him up. We'll remove this guy here. And I'm going to clean up all the solder pads in the bottom. And this is basically what you'll do when you repair electronics. When you're dealing with power resistors like these. What you want to do is make sure you have as little as solder on the bottom. Not technically as little, but you want it kind of flush. You don't want mounds. Which, in repairing other boards, when I did this the way I did it, I did have mounds, and they were lumpy, and there was an air gap underneath them, and I never had problems with them failing. And they were used in a very industrial setting. Every day they were turned on 24 hours a day. The circuits were powered up. So I really wasn't concerned. Too much. An amount of solder that I had on it then. I am today. I'm showing you how to do it, so I don't want all these people heckling. I mean, if we're going to show it right. Okay. I don't have solder paste. If you had solder paste, that would be what you want to do. I'm just adding enough on the pad. You're not going to hear the resistors too. I know I just took them off. I want to add more. Just like that. And if you had a hot air station, this is where this would be beneficial to have one. Which currently do not have access to one. So that's what I deal with. I'm just going to heat one side of the leg up on the resistor, one side of the pad. And I'll go back and tack down the other side. I'm sure they may not be flush, but that doesn't really matter at this point. I'm guessing if these resistors had anything to do with the bulbs, which I'm not sure they do or not. The bulb might be actually a little bit brighter than what he had before. Okay, so now we're going to add solder to this top side of these resistors. Just like this. Now they're soldered on. Clean it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Let me try these other two over here by this bulb. Let's see if they move. They are a little tanned up. And if they move just like that, they do. Okay. So I'm just going to remove them. That resistor doesn't want to come off. That's fine. Let it be. Put the other one back on. There. I'm going to resolder this pad here. These resistors here are connected. Let's move up here to where this is. In front of here. Can you see that? Which way am I going? Okay, so these resistors here is what I'm working on next. If you can prevent any problems in the future is what you want to do. Now that moved because one side already was hot. I'm just gonna do that one moved completely. Same one with that. So seems to be surface mount resistors using in a power setting like this. So I can do this back and forth and that'll make that better. So I don't have to lift them off the pad. I'll just move this one out of the way. Resolder this pad. I mean, if you're gonna do a repair job, do it all the way, right? Sorry if you can't see nothing. But there's no other way I could put my hand. And I don't have a tripod with me right now. Alright, just bear with me. I'm gonna add a blob of solder on both ends. There. That one's done. I'll move up to this one here on this side and work on that. Seems to be pretty good for solder adhesion. We're just gonna kind of make it work here. There. That should be good. Zoom me out a little bit. Let's see exactly what I'm working on. Go over here next. That seemed to be alright. Good. curious about these. This over here for these little LEDs. That's gonna be alright. Okay, so we've soldered a bunch of resistors here as well. Maybe that'll cause things to start working again. I'm gonna go over here in front of this MOSFET regulator thing. I can't find what the part number is online. Nobody has a data sheet. So okay. Should be good and go now. Everything should work. Unless that resistor there has something to do with it. Let me see if I can find one. 240 ohm resistor. Put in it. If not, then we'll just have to deal with it another day. I will put a 249 ohm resistor in there. Should be alright. Only 9 ohm difference. See if it works. Okay, so we're going to put it back together. And then in the next video, you should see that it's in the vehicle, the truck, and hopefully working. See if I can line this up just like this. And we will get all the little plastic knobs and whatnot pressed back in. Just like this. I don't know if they're supposed to be, if they fix themselves or anything like that. I'm not sure. If you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm supposed to be putting them here at 9 volts or if they auto fix themselves, which they may do. Okay, so and we have the speedometer, and just in case it doesn't fix itself, I will take and put it here to 0. And then we have RPMs, and I'll do the same thing. Look at the 0. I think when your car starts and everything goes one way and then back down, I think that's what it's doing. I mean, these are stepper motors. I think that's what it's exactly what it's doing is it's correcting itself. So I think with everything that I soldered and added to this, we're going to be okay. Only time will tell. Let me put this back in now. I'm going to make sure the little push button guy doesn't get pinched. Got the little glass thing. It's just like that. I'm going to squeeze these in. And then I'll do the same on the back side. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've really enjoyed doing this. I'm hoping this piece here didn't have to fit into it. I think it's just rust. This is pretty neat to showcase something different than what I usually do. It certainly is out of the norm. And hopefully we'll get more of these. This is neat. I might have to press this in. I don't know. That might be over its little clip. There. There you have it. Let's get it into the vehicle and see what happens.
Alright, all the gauges are reset and all the needles are going to where they're supposed to be going. So resoldering everything actually worked.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe, and if you have a cluster that you need to fix, send me a message on my Facebook page.